Hey there, Roger Deveau here with ethosmentorship.com, where we connect you with top entrepreneurs so that you can learn from the very best. Today we're talking with Lisa Larter. She's going to share her story with us, as well as some of the lessons she's learned along the way, including the biggest obstacle and her great formula for success. You won't want to miss this one. So sit back and enjoy our conversation with Ethos Mentor, Lisa Larter.
How did I get my start in business? I was a bratty child who knew at a very young age that I wanted some of the finer things in life. And I was raised by a single mom. So at the age of 12, when I wanted to buy designer jeans, I was promptly told that my mom only had a $25 budget for jeans, and that if I wanted designer jeans, I better figure out how to buy them. So I got a job at Bank's General Store, and the very next day they let me go because I was only 12 years old. I wasn't legally old enough to work yet. So I had a dilemma because I still wanted these jeans. And so what I did is I found a solution, and I started my own little business. And in town at the time, we had a flea market every weekend, and I decided that I was going to collect things and sell things at the flea market. Then I decided that I was going to put my ability to knit and crochet and make crafts to work, and I made things to sell at the flea market. Then I expanded into chocolates, and I started making chocolates and buying molds for chocolates. I would sell them at the flea market, I would sell them at school, and I got my jeans. And it used to really upset my mom because she would go to the flea market and she'd have a table like this, and she would have all this stuff at her table and nobody would buy. And I would have my table that I paid for with my money, and I would have all this stuff, and I would make hundreds and hundreds of dollars at the flea market. And I was just a kid. So that's kind of how it started. But I learned a lesson at the age of 12. At the age of 12, I knew that I was capable of generating income for myself by myself. And that's a powerful thing to know, that you can do that. And I always teach people that when somebody teaches you how to make money yourself, that is a skill that is invaluable, because once you know how to do it once, you can do it over and over and over again. And that's essentially what I've done in my life, is I've just continued to take that skill and apply it to different things. So at the age of, let me see, how old was I? Well, my husband and I had like a lawn care business together, and I always aspired to own my own business. And so in my 30s, early 30s, I decided that I was going to start an organic gift business. And I was going to create the whole run-through of gift baskets. No cheese ball gift baskets. Mine were going to be in beautiful box with lids, and they were going to have tissue paper and little foil seals, and they were going to have high-end organic coffees and high-end organic chocolates, and they were going to have beautiful tulle bows and just be something decadent that you would receive, versus the traditional gift basket that came in a wicker basket that you threw away with like sample size things. And I started it. The next thing I knew, I'm still working in my corporate job, but I'm doing $30,000 a year in sales with gift baskets. And I knew when I got to that level that I was capable of taking the golden handcuffs of the corporation off and doing my own thing. And it's actually 6 years ago. It was November of 2006. November 1st, 2006, I walked away from my corporate job and I opened my wireless store, my TELUS store. And that was an invaluable experience for me. I was in it. I was no longer experimenting. I am all in. I have invested money in building this bricks and mortar retail store, lots of money, and I am now running my own business, and I have employees, and I have lots of things that I need to learn. And that was good, because I should have lots of things to learn when I open a big business like that. Fast forward, what I realized is that I didn't know how much I knew about business until I left the corporation. Because had I known what I knew, I probably could have started off consulting. but I didn't realize that my skills were unique. I didn't realize that my skills would add value to other people because I was in it. My girlfriend says, you're like a fish in water. You just don't get that nobody else can breathe in water. Well, I didn't get that what I knew about running a business was so unique and special. And so when people started asking me to teach them, it just seemed so easy and natural for me because I've been doing it since I was 12 years old in some capacity. And that really led to me starting my consulting business because somebody basically tapped me on the shoulder one day and said, if you would teach us, we would pay you. And I was like, really? So I started asking people for money. And that's a really hard thing for some people to do, is to step up and say, I'll teach you, but it's going to cost you. And that has allowed me to create a very successful consulting business where I don't even work in my store anymore. I have a manager in my store, I have team members in my store. I have not worked physically in my location in 2.5 years. And I have a pretty good life now, doing what I love, working with people that I love, and it's hugely rewarding. And I think that although I think I was born an entrepreneur, I do believe you can learn how to be an entrepreneur. I do believe that it is skill-based and that you can learn, and that people who aspire to own their own businesses, if you're still that someday person, you have a job and you want to do something on the side, the thing that I would tell them is invest in your learning, model what you see other successful people doing, but learn what the recipe is, okay? What I mean by that is I can give you the most beautiful chocolate chip cookie in the world, and you can be like, oh, Lisa bakes cookies, I'm gonna go bake cookies. But your cookie will never taste the same as mine unless you know the ingredients that went into it and how I actually cooked it. So when you're looking outside at what someone else is creating and you think you understand their magic, you don't necessarily always understand the recipe. You need to learn the recipe if you want to learn how to do it over and over and over again. Invest in learning the recipe. Invest in learning the skills that you need to create a successful business, because once you learn that skill of making money, you can do it over and over and over again. And just like any skill, the more you practice it, the better you get at it. I have a 4-step process that I talk to people about, and ironically enough, it's called the cash model. And it's not, before you say, oh, I don't want to watch this, it's not some cheeseball money-making thing. C stands for courage. And I believe that when you want to start your own business, you have to come from a place of courage. It doesn't matter where you're at. You've got voices in your head that tell you you're not good enough, you're not ready, something bad can happen. You really need to have courage to take the first step. That is the most important piece. A stands for aptitude, which means you need to learn all those things that you don't know. You need to take the first step. You need to identify what it is you don't know. Make a list of all the things you need to learn how to do. Don't run away from them. Embrace them. Go learn the skills. Go learn the attributes that you need, or the acumen that you need to have a successful business. S stands for self-confidence. Self-confidence doesn't just happen to you. People tell me all the time, oh, Lisa, you exude confidence. Well, I gotta tell you, I was a really insecure kid. I had health problems, I was overweight, I was not confident. Self-confidence comes from having the courage to take action. It doesn't just happen. You become confident because you become competent. You become competent when you have the courage to step out and you acquire the aptitude that you need to do what you want to do. And then the last thing, the H stands for habits. It's all fine and dandy that you have courage and that you have the aptitude and you have the self-confidence, but guess what? If you don't brush your teeth every day, dude, you have bad breath. It's the same thing in your business. If you don't apply the habits every single day, and you don't keep on top of what you need to do in your business to make it successful, your business won't be successful. It drives me crazy. I hear people say this all the time. Oh, I need to get my books done. My accountant hasn't done them in a couple of years. Okay, that's not how you run a business. I'm sorry. You are playing small. You are not taking your business seriously. You're running around in your business, but you're not running a business if you're not applying the habits that successful people apply to making their businesses make money. So you need a mentor to help you, which is where the acumen comes from, and the aptitude, so that you know what habits are important. You know what to measure. So you're measuring what matters, and you're doing the things that help you to move your business forward. So that's my cash formula. It works for me. Courage, aptitude, self-confidence, and habits. If you have those 4 things, you can make money in your business. Guaranteed. The one major obstacle that I had to overcome, and this is not necessarily a big deal if you are running a really small business, but my store does over $1 million a year in sales. So this was a huge, huge, huge challenge for me. And it is a challenge that you can run into as your business grows. And that's understanding how to manage cash flow. If you don't understand, people say customer service is king. I'm sorry, cash flow rules. The bank does not forgive you when you don't have any money left. Your customer will forgive you for a bad customer service experience, but money is black and white. It is objective. It does not lie. When it's gone, it's gone. And I think that too many people misunderstand income and expense versus cash flow. They don't understand the importance of planning for upcoming expenses. They make short-sighted decisions because they just got a big sale and they're projecting that that's going to happen again next week. They're not looking at the big picture of how to operate their business. And that falls back into the habits, is they're not actually measuring their business. They don't know what their expenses are and their income is. They're kind of running their business on a prayer versus looking at the financial metrics that tell you whether your business is successful or not. And so for me, when I first opened my store, I couldn't understand. I was doing really, really great. I was selling all this stuff, but oh man, I always owed money for inventory. I had never had any money in the bank. I was always going into my credit line. I didn't understand how to get ahead. So my bookkeeper came in and he built this whole cash flow model for me so that I could plug in all the inputs and I could know exactly where I was at. And I looked at it and I went, okay, makes sense. I deleted everything. And I started from scratch and I did it myself so that I really got it. I really understood it. That's how I learned cash flow.